The MacBook Neo is the kind of product I never expected Apple to make. At first glance, it almost feels anti-Apple. For years, the cheapest MacBooks have usually started at $999 aside from older models like the MacBook Air M1, which sometimes dropped as low as $699 during sales. But the MacBook Neo starts at just $599 for education users. That is a massive $500 less than the new MacBook Air M5. A price hike that should raise a lot of concerns, and honestly it does. But after spending time testing the MacBook Neo, I can say this clearly, it is the most complete laptop I have ever used under $600. It also beats every Windows laptop in its class, and it outclasses most Chromebooks too. For $599 you get a strong aluminum body, a bright and colorful 500 nit display, and a surprisingly fast A18 Pro chip that handles everyday tasks with ease. Web browsing, video playback, casual gaming, and day-to-day productivity all feel smooth. On top of that, the side speakers are far better than you would expect at this price. So what did Apple have to cut to make this happen? Where does the MacBook Neo stand in larger laptop market? And is it actually the right choice for you? Here is my full MacBook Neo review with the real pros and cons laid out clearly. The MacBook Neo proves that Apple still knows how to make a budget product feel premium. Even though this is the least expensive MacBook in the lineup, it still looks and feels better than almost every laptop in its price range. The aluminum body gives it a solid, durable, and high-end feel. It also comes in 4 bright color options, and the review unit I tested was the Citrus version, which is a vivid green shade that stands out in a good way. I also saw the color at the launch event. Silver is the classic Mac look, blush is a soft pink tone, and indigo is a deep blue. These colors feels fun without looking childish. That said, the aluminum build does mean the MacBook Neo is not quite as light as you might expect. At 2.7 pounds or 1.23 kg, it weighs the same as a MacBook Air. That is still portable, but students carrying it around all day may notice the weight. It is also slightly thicker than the Air. Apple has also matched the keyboard color to the laptop's finish, which gives the MacBook Neo a more unified and polished appearance. Apple describes it as a more colorful MacBook, and that is a fair description. One of the main differences between the base model and the higher storage version is Touch ID. If you buy the 512GB version, you get a Touch ID button on the keyboard that makes logging in, authorizing installs, using Apple Pay, and managing passwords much easier. It is a shame that Apple limited this to the more expensive model because biometric security is extremely convenient and is already common in many budget Windows laptops. The base model instead gives you a plain lock button, which is much less useful. The keyboard itself feels comfortable and responsive, just like the Magic keyboards on more expensive Macs, but it misses one major feature: backlighting. On other MacBooks, the keys light up in dark environments, which makes typing much easier in classrooms, libraries, or at night. Without that lighting, the MacBook Neo becomes more difficult to use when the room is dim. That is probably the biggest design compromise Apple made to hit the lower price. It is not a deal breaker, but it is hard to ignore. Along the left side, you get 2 USB-C ports. These also handle charging. Since there is no MagSafe 3 here, the ports look normal, but they are not equal. The rear port uses USB 3 speeds, which reach up to 10 Gbps. That is fine the most accessories, but it is much slower than the Thunderbolt 4 and Thunderbolt 5 ports on more expensive MacBooks. You can still connect a USB-C monitor and run it at 4K 60Hz, which is good. The second USB-C port is much slower because it uses USB 2 technology. That means speeds of just 60 MB per second, which is really only suitable for low demand accessories like wired mice or keyboards. This is one of the more awkward cost-cutting decisions Apple made. The two ports look almost identical, but they behave very differently. That could easily confuse people, especially when a flash drive suddenly transfers data much more slowly than expected. Even though I understand why Apple did it, using USB 2 in a 2026 laptop feels hard to justify. Still, the rest of the design avers that kind of disappointment. The aluminum chassis looks premium, the 13-inch screen is a strong choice for portability, and the display itself is one of the best parts of the MacBook Neo. At 2408 by 1506, it is much sharper than the 1080p panels most budget laptops uses. It also gets up to 500 nits of brightness, which is excellent for a laptop in this price bracket. That brightness makes the screen easy to use outdoors or in bright rooms, while the color reproduction is vivid and rich thanks to support for 1 billion colors. For anyone who has used a cheap laptop with a dull, washed-out screen, the MacBook Neo's panel will feel like a major upgrade. It is one of the best budget laptop displays you can buy and maybe the best of all. The only missing feature, of course, is touchscreen support, because this is still very much an Apple laptop. The A18 Pro chip is one of the biggest reasons the MacBook Neo exists, and it is also one of the most interesting parts of the machine. Instead of using an M series chip like other modern Macs, Apple chose the A18 Pro, the same chip that powered the iPhone 16 Pro. At first, that sounds unusual. Putting a phone chip in a laptop is not the standard approach, but the logic behind it actually makes a lot of sense. Apple has far more experience designing mobile chips than computer chips, and its high-end iPhone silicon is now extremely powerful in a low-cost laptop that may be smarter than using a weak traditional laptop chip that struggles to keep up. By using an older iPhone chip, Apple lowers the cost without sacrificing too much real-world performance. So why not use an older M chip like the M1? Apple says the A18 Pro has a 16-core neural engine that is better suited for on-device AI tasks, including Apple Intelligent features inside macOS. The M1 is not as capable in that area, and the A18 also benefits from faster memory that makes this choice look a lot more strategic than strange. And because the A18 Pro is still a 64-bit ARM-based chip, the MacBook Neo runs full macOS, not a restricted mobile operating system. You are not stuck with iPhone apps. You can run standard Mac software just like you would on a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, or Mac Studio. macOS runs well on the Neo, and although it is not as snappy as my MacBook Pro, it still feels impressive for the price. For the best experience though, you should keep expectations realistic and stick mainly to lighter apps. I used built-in tools like GarageBand and Keynote, and both run smoothly. That is the kind of workload this laptop handles best. You can still go beyond that. I installed Steam, which requires Rosetta on non-Intel hardware, and it worked. That shows how open the MacBook Neo is compared with Chromebooks, which are still far more limited in the apps they can run. Some budget Windows laptops also ship with Windows 11 in S mode, which is basically a locked down version of Windows that awkward app restrictions. The MacBook Neo avoids all of that. In practical terms, this makes the Neo much more flexible than a Chromebook or a Windows S mode laptop. It is also more useful than an iPad Pro in some ways, even though the iPad Pro may be more powerful on paper. The reason is simple: the Neo runs full Mac software, not iPad OS apps. Apple's ecosystem features also work here. You can mirror your iPhone, drag and drop files, make calls, send messages, share your clipboard, and use an iPad as a secondary display. I tested it with the latest M5 iPad Pro, and the setup worked extremely well. That is important because it means the MacBook Neo does not feel like a second-class Mac. You still get the same broad Apple experience as you do on more expensive models, and that is a huge win for a lower cost device. The limits are really about hardware, not software. If you want to do heavy 3D work, advanced video editing or large creative projects, the MacBook Neo is going to struggle. It is not built for those jobs. The biggest concern is the 8 GB of unified memory. That is enough for basic use, but it is not generous by modern standards. And because the memory is unified, it is shared between the system and graphics, which makes multitasking tighter than it would be on a laptop with more memory. During my testing with Safari, Keynote, GarageBand and a Steam download, all active memory uses climb to around 6.48 GB to 7 GB. That is dangerously close to the ceiling. Once you get too close to the limit, performance starts to dip. There is also no upgrade path for memory, and you cannot just open the laptop and add more yourself. That means the 8 GB configuration is something you have to live with for the lifetime of the device. For most students or casual users, that may be fine as long as they keep their workload light. But anyone who likes to jump between many apps or run heavier software should look at the MacBook Air M5 instead, which starts with 16 GB of unified memory. Gaming is possible too, but again expectations matter. I got Cyberpunk 2077 running at a playable 30 FPS using the For This Mac preset. It was not a generous experience because most settings were pushed very low and advanced effects were disabled, but the fact that a $599 fanless laptop can run a game like that at all is impressive. You can also play iPhone and iPad games, which are much better suited to this hardware. Overall, the MacBook Neo performs very well for the price. It is excellent for everyday tasks, surprisingly capable with many Mac apps and flexible enough to general use. But it is not a productivity powerhouse, and it should not be treated like one. One more advantage deserves mention: the MacBook Neo is fanless. That means it stays quiet in use, which is a major benefit over many budget Windows laptops that get noisy as soon as the system starts working harder. The MacBook Neo is the best budget laptop you can buy right now. It is true that Neo sits at the upper end of what many people would call budget, but the gap in quality between this and most Windows laptops or Chromebooks at the same price is huge. The design is premium, the display is excellent, the speakers are surprisingly strong, and the performance is more than good enough for day-to-day work. What impresses me most is that Apple did not cripple macOS just to hit a lower price. You still get the full Mac experience along with support for the broader Apple ecosystem. That makes the Neo feel like a real MacBook, not a watered-down version. Yes, there are compromises. The USB-C setup is awkward, the keyboard has no backlight, and the 8 GB memory limit is restrictive, but those issues are understandable in a laptop this affordable, even if they are still disappointing. At the end of the day, Apple has made a budget MacBook that actually feels worth buying. It is not the cheapest option on the market, but it is one of the smartest.